Hello, fellow readers and booktubers. I'd like to share some thoughts on a book I just finished reading. And that book is The Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones. And that is the title. It's not a misprint. It is The Buffalo Hunter. In fact, the title is one of the things that first attracted my attention to this. But if you think about that title and mull it over for even just a couple of minutes, you'll understand what's being said there. It's not really a mystery or anything. And when I say I just finished reading it, quite literally an hour ago, I finished reading this book. And I want to share my thoughts right away because this is not the kind of novel I would usually read. Those of you who are subscribers to my channel know that I usually go for historical work, nonfiction. When I read novels, I usually go for the classics. For example, I recently read Charles Dickens' Pickwick Papers, and or more contemporary fiction. Thomas Pynchon's latest novel, The Shadow Ticket, is on my TBR pile. It might be the very next thing I read after this. Or I'll read modern fiction, the kind of novels that are probably going to end up on the required reading list of an English lit course in college in the years to come. But this is genre fiction. Okay, I don't knock genre fiction at all. I used to read a lot of it. I used to love science fiction, mystery stories, horror, historical fiction. I used to eat that stuff up. There were some changes in my life as I got a little bit older. I kind of drifted away from that kind of fiction. But I do dip into it from time to time. And genre fiction is written largely for entertainment value. And this is a very entertaining book. What's the genre here? It is a cross between historical fiction and horror. Emphasis on the horror. I kind of knew what I was getting into. I was careful not to watch other videos. Many other booktubers have reviewed this. I didn't watch their videos. I saw a couple of book reviews in newspapers and things that are online, and I didn't read those because I want to go in this with fresh eyes, but I did know enough to know that it's about a vampire and that it's set in about 100 years ago, late 1800s, early 1900s in Montana. So it's a historical fiction, but it's a vampire story. And I was looking for, I don't know if you could call this light reading, but just purely entertaining reading. And this is that, for sure. It is one part, historical fiction. It's part Native American mythology. It is kind of a Native American revenge fantasy. And it's horrifying. The author, again, I think those of you who read this kind of stuff a lot, you probably recognize the name, Stephen Graham Jones. He was a new voice to me, but he's quite a prolific author. He's written 20-some novels. His specialty would seem to be Native American fiction crossed with supernatural type things. He's like the Native American Stephen King in a way. And he's Native American himself. He's drawing on his own cultural identity and his own cultural experience and the stories he heard. And I looked at the titles of some of his other novels. They sound very interesting. One of them in particular was called Zombie Barbecue, which made me chuckle grimly. And I think maybe years ago I would have gobbled up everything this guy has written just based on reading this one. Maybe I'll read some of his other stuff at some other time. It's it's not quite my cup of tea, but it was entertaining. I kept turning the pages. It was, at times, horribly shocking. I think if I had to sum up this novel in one word, I would say it's grisly. But again, maybe that's what horror stories are like now, graphic depictions of horrifying violence. In this case, it's the vampire. The scenes where he's feeding on other people are written in the most graphic detail. And in part, when I say it's a Native American revenge fantasy, the vampire here is a Native American, and he's targeting the white buffalo hunters, right? However, this vampire's bloodlust is so extreme, if there aren't any white people around, he'll turn on his own tribe or other tribes, men, women, and children. In fact, he'll even attack animals and drain them of their blood. There was an interesting thing here, adding to vampire lore. If he's drinking the blood of animals, he starts to assume some of the physical characteristics of those animals. Again, this was new to me. Maybe it's typical to vampire lore today, but it was new to me. I thought that was very, very interesting. Also, I know quite some time ago, vampires became these kind of romantic figures. Well, there was some series that was out years ago. I didn't read any of the books, but they were made into movies. Twilight, I think it was, where the vampires were these love-lorn characters. The vampire in this is not a romantic character. He's a monster. He's terrifying, and just frightening. This is a nightmare-inducing type novel. It's very well written. I enjoyed it. Again, very much outside my experience as a reader. If you like this kind of thing, you've probably already read it. But if not, I would say, oh, go for it for sure. If you don't read, horror stories very much, I would say, yeah, give it a try. Give it a chance. It will not disappoint you. I really, really enjoyed this. Also, in this book, in the back of it, there are the acknowledgments that you find in a lot of writing, where the author will thank his publisher and his proofreader and his family and his children for putting up with him and all of this. And Jones includes that, but also in his acknowledgement, he kind of goes through all the different authors and novels and graphic novels and short stories that he's read over the years that kind of fed into his imagination, that then came out in this book. And so I thought that was kind of interesting. I think if you're thinking about writing fiction or you want to be a novelist, you might want to read the acknowledgments he put at the end of the story here, because he kind of can give you a sense of what it's like to read and how you're influenced by what you read. But the novel itself, the story itself, is just mind-blowing. I did enjoy it, but yeah, it's not really my cup of tea. But I'm not disappointed that I read it. So anyway, that's about all I have to say about The Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones. Happy reading. It will give you nightmares if you're not used to this kind of thing. And that's all I have for you today. So be strong and never stop reading.